and I forgot to start my own recording. Now I'm going to be going through a series of Tech Talks here on Twitter for this month and try and pull all this stuff together. Tonight, we're starting off with capture cards. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about why you might want to use a capture card and go through some examples of some of the capture cards I've reviewed. Over the last 3 years, I've had occasion to review about 10 to 12 different capture cards, most of which I still have on hand, with a couple of exceptions. So let's go ahead and start talking about it, and then we'll get through as much as we can this session, and then I'm going to be back later this week and throughout the month to continue having this discussion. And one of the problems I always have on Twitter is that the chat comes in differently on Periscope and Twitter, so I needed to bring up the Periscope display, so hopefully I can see the chat. First question, and I get this a lot and frequently, is why would I need to use a capture card? And the reason, some of the reasons are, let's say you're going to be streaming on PC. And let's go to the little whiteboard here. And I don't know if this is going to be forwards or backwards or not, but so you're playing on your gaming PC over here. Let me try and use it with my other hand. And what you're going to do is you are going to come out of your GPU with your HDMI line, and you are going to go over into a video capture card with that HDMI line. You're going to come out of the video capture card and with another HDMI line, and with your HDMI line, and you're going to go out to your display. So essentially, in that instance, the capture card acts as a HDMI pass-through. Going over to your streaming PC, you're going to come out with this USB 3.0 cable, and you're going to go to the streaming PC. And then from the streaming PC, obviously, you'll come out with Ethernet and go out to your router and then out to your platform of choice. So the reasons that you might want to do this are a few different ones. Now, you could stream from your PC, from the same PC that you're gaming from, if you wanted to. One reason that you might want to do it this way is because gaming obviously is a hardware-intensive activity. It can, on occasion, stress your CPU, your memory, pulling stuff from your hard drive, and strain your GPU. So one nice thing to do is to split out and load balance that work across two different PCs so that you have one PC dedicated to doing all the heavy lifting for playing your game and another PC to do all of your heavy lifting for streaming. Now, the arguments that you'll get against this is that it's over-redundant and not necessary, and that, you can build a box that can handle all of it in one, and you certainly can. I know for myself, streaming can sometimes be difficult. The platforms and services that you stream to can sometimes be finicky. They can behave differently at different times of the day, under different situations, depending if a lot of people are streaming. When I run into problems and have to start troubleshooting, I find that it's also much easier if I'm troubleshooting a PC that's dedicated to streaming and one PC that's dedicated to gaming. I don't have to question whether or not a problem is root cause from the game versus root cause from the stream. So being able to split out that spaghetti and not getting everything all tethered together, I personally find to be easier. Another reason why you might want to do it is because of wear and tear on your components. So while you can certainly build an Uber box, like some of my PCs are, and they can handle certainly the stress of both playing a game and streaming, over time, the reason why your components are eventually going to fail is they're going to fail based on the number of operating hours that you have on them. I think that it's nicer to then split those operating hours out between gaming and a streaming PC. And again, there will be an argument that says you're never going to keep a gaming PC, streaming PC, long enough for that to ever be an issue. However, I still just like having that personal buffer. Another reason why you might want to split it out is when it comes to investing in your gaming and streaming setup, you can build a targeted, purpose-built box for streaming that is less expensive than a box for gaming. And so, in my world, I prefer to have those two PCs split out, and let's say the costs for them are, the cost in total is less expensive or is split between the two PCs. So I could build a $3,000, $4,000 box that could handle all of it, or I could build a $2,000 gaming box and a $1,000 streaming box and use that surplus to invest more quickly in upgrades or build additional PCs or whatever that I might need to do. Because in a streaming PC, you don't necessarily have to have it fitted out with a GPU. You certainly don't necessarily have to have it fitted out with the latest, greatest GPU. You can just put a really good, solid, high-end CPU in it, bypass the GPU, and stream using that CPU. Those are some more complicated topics which we can get into later. Now with OBS 23, admittedly, there have been changes and updates to a codec called NVench, which leverages NVIDIA GPUs to do live streaming. And so there may be some performance improvements in that even further obviate the need to have multiple PCs to have a dedicated streaming PC versus dedicated gaming PC. But, those are yet to be fully tested and revealed and surfaced and completely and entirely understood. And for the most case, you probably get your biggest bang for the buck using OBS 23 if you are on an NVIDIA RTX series GPU, which not a lot of people are. So now if you are going to if you're going to stream from a console, the reason why you might want to use a capture card in conjunction with a streaming PC is to give you an additional layer of control. Those onboard apps on the Xbox One and on the PlayStation 4 don't give you any control over the fidelity of your live stream. So they decide what your bitrate output is going to be, and it's going to be based on the performance that they're seeing on the network. So you're not really going to have a choice over whether or not you're outputting your stream at 720p or 1080p. Those apps are going to decide for you. Additionally, you're not going to be able to get any overlays on there natively. Now, you can send your live stream to a third-party service, such as on the Xbox One going to Mixer. You can send your stream to Lightstream, and you can put overlays and widgets and all the types of things on your stream that you want to that way, and then forward pass that on to Mixer. Your mileage may vary. A lot of people have a lot of success with it. I don't like it because I found that I have to then back off of what the system will do is it'll back off of the bit rate that you're putting out because you're going through two different nodes. So I would prefer to have it go through a capture card and a streaming PC and then be able to put my own overlays on it locally. The other thing, if you're using additional extensions and services like Stream Elements, Streamlabs, those things you would want to be able to rig locally. Also, if you want to be able to use a Stream Deck in conjunction with OBS, that is a little easier if you have that there with you locally, going to a streaming PC. Now, one workaround that people use, and I want to talk about, is a lot of people will recommend and tell you that what you can do is you can stream using Remote Play on a PlayStation or using the Xbox app. And what you can do is you can basically place shift the video, the game from the console to a PC, play it on the PC, and then use OBS on that PC to then forward pass it on to Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Mixer, whatever. The problem you have with that is in overall video quality. So when you are playing a game from your Xbox One directly onto your display, the relative image quality that you're getting is about the equivalent of what you would call 40 megabits per second. And megabits per second or bits per second is an expression of the overall image quality that you see on any screen or display. It is a definition of the total amount of data that you are sending per second in your image. And the more bits that you send to a screen per second, the higher fidelity, the image quality. So every time you place shift a picture or a video stream, there is an inherent reduction in video quality. That is a mathematical fact, and no matter what anybody says, that is an absolute truth that never changes. So when you go from your television screen or from the direct output of the Xbox, or the image as it's rendered on the Xbox, and you send it to a PC, even on your own LAN, the picture quality that you're going to see is fewer megabits per second than you would see natively directly on a TV. And roughly the way it works out as is what you would see on your screen is about 40 megabits per second. If you send it using the Xbox app streaming API over to a PC, is you're going to see about 15 to 25 megabits per second, right? So, so right off the bat, the image that you're going to see here is, in some cases, 50% of the image that you would see here. Now, the Xbox makes a decision on what this is, and it's a variable bit rate, so it's going to change, minute to minute, second to second. You don't have any control over that. Now, what a lot of people will say is that when they see that locally, they can't detect the difference by the naked human eye, or it doesn't matter, or it looks fine. Again, those are decisions that you need to make. I just want you to have the information. Then you're going to take that signal, so you're going to take a 15 to 25 megabit per second signal, and you're going to compress it further and send it downstream to your streaming service of choice. So if you're going to, I don't remember all of the bit rates because they differ and I switch around services so much. I'm pretty sure Mixer has a maximum throughput of about 10 megabits per second. I can't remember what Twitch's is. Twitter, which is what I'm on right now, has a maximum of 4 megabits per second. So I typically stream out at about 3.4 because you have to back off of that a little when you're streaming out of OBS because it varies a little bit with second to second. So my point is you're going to, by doing that, by displacing the output of the Xbox and sending it to a PC and then streaming it out, you're taking an image, you're reducing it in quality, you're taking a reduced quality video stream and then further sending that downstream. At the end of the day, yielding cascading layers of degradation of the video signal. Now, again, there's strong arguments in the streaming community about whether or not that matters and who cares. Each individual streamer and you guys as beginners is going to have to decide whether or not you care about the video quality of your stream. I will tell you that I do, and as a viewer, if I go into a stream and the stream's of low video quality, then I'm out. Now, I will say one counter to that is it is also true that if you stream a very high quality, high bit rate signal to your stream, and people are trying to view it who only have low bandwidth, they are going to have problems viewing your stream. You can mitigate that a little bit by how much latency you allow to be in the stream via the various settings that are available on the different streaming services. It's curious to me. Some people are hyper concerned about the amount of latency that they have. I've never been in a stream as a viewer where I've seen it be a really huge difference if, like, the streamer responding to something that comes through in chat is 10 seconds late. It doesn't really matter. It's not like it's real-time communications anyway. So that's an individual decision you're going to have to make. I am not a super huge fan, and I don't personally recommend that people do the video displacement, place shifting from their Xbox to a PC and then stream that out over OBS. My input would be take whatever time you need, a couple paydays, whatever, save up for a $100 to $150 capture card and stream out that way. Now, admittedly, the cost of a streaming PC can sometimes be expensive, but again, you can get a PC from $500 to $650 that has a high enough end recent generation Core i7 CPU with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and that will be sufficient for a streaming PC. That's essentially what I started with, and then upgraded over time to get something that was more capable. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and walk through 2 of the capture cards that I'm going to have available for us to talk through today. So the first one is this one, the AverMedia LiveGamer Xtreme 2, model number GC551. So AverMedia is a French company that makes several lines of video game capture cards. This is their LiveGamer Xtreme series. You can see it has HDMI inputs and outputs here on the back, and then it has a USB-C connector, all right, to go out to the PC. It has no front panel connectors, and as we talk through capture cards over this series, We're going to go through a few that do have front panel connectors. Those are ones that I'm a fan of because you can directly connect microphones and headsets and other peripherals to the front panel, and that will kind of make your life easier sometimes when you can take an audio pass-through directly into a headset and listen that way without having to do some of the other workarounds that we have to do to listen to the in-game audio. The very cool thing about this card is this card does a 4K pass-through. So for you guys that have 4K setups, say you have an Xbox One Scorpio or a PS4 Pro, or have PCs with 4K displays, what you can do is normally the constraint you run into is most video game capture cards are only capable of passing through a 1080p signal. So if you have a 4K setup, anytime you hook up that capture card, your video either auto steps down in the case of a console, or on a PC you have to manually change the resolution before you hook up the capture card and set it down to 1080p. With this, you get to play your games at 4K and get the return on investment that you made in making a 4K setup, but still connect this to OBS and stream downstream at 1080p. So this is of the series that does this little goofy thing where you can unscrew this and raise this cover and change out the graphic insert. I've never bothered doing that, but it's a cool thing that you can do if you want to do it. The second card that I want to talk about is the AverMedia LiveGamer Ultra GC553. So that's the 551. This is the 553. This is the higher end card in the AverMedia series. Now, its HDMI input and output ports are along this edge. Its USB 3.0 output, which is a USB-C connector, is here. This is the only video card that I have that has an active cooling solution in it. So all of the other video game capture cards that I have all just use a heat sink inside the chassis. This thing actually has a spinning fan inside it, and it is loud enough that it is audible at night. Like, so if I have it hooked up and I'm live streaming, and then my PCs go into standby, I can hear this thing spinning, and it's a very kind of high pitched whine. When I come back down into the studio in the morning and the PCs are on standby. This card does not only 4K pass-through, but it also can do 4K local game capture at 4K 30 frames per second. So I have used this and do use this periodically to send my live stream out at 1080p, but then locally, because what I do when I live stream is I send my signal out to whatever service that I'm on, but I also concurrently do a local capture to my hard drive and then upload that video to YouTube, because it's a higher fidelity recording than I get if I use like the Twitch export capability or download the VOD from Mixer. So if I'm on a 4K PC, which I have a couple of those here, then I can actually capture that in 4K. So this is the most powerful video game capture card that I have. Now, that all being said, I will say with the AverMedia cards, and I have a few others, I will say these are the things that drive me the battiest with regards to keeping their drivers up to date, because what AverMedia does is they embed the drivers in the application download package. So when you download their proprietary streaming and recording application, which is called RE Central, updated versions of RE Central have the drivers for the cards embedded. As far as I know, I've never seen it except for maybe some of their older cards. You don't have the ability to just go and just get the driver update. So it frequently sometimes can be difficult to know with absolute certainty that you're getting an RE Central version that has the applicably updated drivers for your AverMedia card. It sometimes drives me nuts. And the other thing is, I'm pretty certain what I found out is that with that RE Central application, even though what it says is, do you want to install an update, it kind of acts like the old days of video card drivers, where what you actually need to do is you actually need to uninstall the instance of the application that you have and then do a fresh install of the updated version. Otherwise, whenever I've just tried to run it as an update, I always have problems. I always wind up troubleshooting for like an hour or two, and then I finally wind up uninstalling the app. And I think just because when it happens, I forget the last time, that I had the same problem. So that's going to do it for today. Thanks so much for joining in on this episode of Streamer Tech Talk for Beginners. I'm going to be back later on this week or whenever to talk about some additional capture cards that I have. In the meantime, if you have questions, If I don't have Periscope set up properly here on my desktop and I didn't see your questions or comments in chat, please go ahead and send them to, respond right here in the Twitter thread, and I will either address them directly in the Twitter thread or I will figure out some other way to get back to you. If you're watching the archive version of this on YouTube, please feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also ask your questions in the comments, and then I will get back to you on YouTube. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining in. That's going to do it for me. Once again, my name has been Agasically Stainless from GearWorks.com and the E2KG Network podcasting channel on YouTube, as well as the Rounding Off Infinity gaming channel on YouTube. Until next time, happy hunting, take care of yourselves, stay safe out there, play the games that you like, and stream the games that you love. That's going to do it for me. I'm out of here.